This is TWiT.
This is a strange story. Supreme Court asked to nullify the Google trademark.
Oh, man.
Is the term Google too generic and then unworthy of trademark protection? The U.S. Supreme Court is gonna hear this case.
I wish I could bet money on this guy losing.
A guy named Chris Gillespie, back in 2012, he registered 763 domain names, as one does.
As you do.
As you do, that combine Google with other words, including GoogleDonaldTrump.com. This is prescient, this 2012. Google, well, they filed a cyber squatting complaint under the Uniform Domain Name Dispute Resolution Policy. Of course, the acronym for that, UDERP.
UDERP. They think they're nerds whenever they...
You sound like the Swedish chef when you... Claimed trademark infringement. Google won. An arbitration panel ordered the forfeiture of the domains. So Gillespie said, no, not so fast. He sued. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled last year that Google's trademark should really be kept. It's Google. This is the court wrote, even if we assume the public uses the verb Google in a generic and indiscriminate sense, but I would submit that before the Google came along, you never said the word Google unless you were a mathematician talking about a million.
To the 100th, yeah.
What is a Google? A billion?
It's like 1 followed by 100 zeros. Yeah.
1 with 100 zeros. A Google. And there's Googleplex, which is a Google times Google. I don't know, Google squared?
10 to the Google power. Google, I forget now.
But it's not like this is...
I've unloaded that part of the cache.
It's not spelled the same anyway. It's a different Google.
But this has happened 1,000 times before. Band-Aids, Kleenex. I mean, it goes on and on.
So the theory being, if people just use it enough, that it just genericizes.
It becomes a word.
But they also take into account whether the company tries to protect its trademark, which, by the way, Google has for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And every 3 or 4 years, there's, some Google's being a jerk because they send a letter to somebody that says, yo, you used it in a generic way, please don't do that. So there's a long track record of Google protecting its trademark.
Right.
I guess I've never heard someone say they were Yahooing something. No offense to my sister company, but...
Or Binging something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Briefly, Microsoft did run ads trying to convince
President
people.
Trump uses the word bing a lot, but he's like bing, bang, boom.
No, that's bada bing.
Oh, bada
boom.
Okay.
That's a...
All right.
Is genericide a word?
It is apparently illegal.
I like that word. That's a good word.
It's a form of abandonment. A mark will be deemed to be abandoned if its use has been discontinued for 3 years with the intent not to resume such use. By the way, that's how we got the new screensavers trademark, is NBC failed to renew screensavers.
Oh, nice.
They called us and they said, you can't use it. And I said, well, have you ever heard the word genericide?
Turns out I can. Gotcha.
When the mark becomes like Kleenex, like Xerox, a generic name for the goods. Now, Xerox for a long time really fought that.
Yeah.
Spam, it's interesting. Hormel, for a long time, eventually gave up. Does that mean they lost the trademark to spam?
I think there's also areas where the trademark gets used.
So it's, if you're talking about sliced and diced pork shoulder.
Right. Lunch meat, yeah.
Lunch meat, they own that. But when you're talking about email spam, they don't care about that. Genericide, it's amazing. So brands essentially destroyed by their own success. The Supreme Court will rule whether Google has committed genericide. Gillespie has appealed to the Supreme Court. Now, they haven't agreed to take up the case. In all likelihood, they'll go.
It's not going to go anywhere.